So how can you feel really confident with performing and come across in a really confident way without edging into arrogance? This is something that a lot of my clients talk to me about before they come and work with me, because they come and work with me because they want to have more confidence, but they don't want to end up being one of those people who comes across as really arrogant. So I'm going to tell you in this episode what I tell them, which is the difference between confidence and arrogance, and how understanding that can allow you to become confident without leaning into being arrogant. Hi, I'm Hattie Voelcker from Find Your True Voice, and you're listening to the Courageous Performer podcast, a podcast designed to teach you how to feel comfortable and confident in front of any audience without coming across as arrogant. So apologies for the quality of the sound and the lighting. I'm currently in the Umbrian Hills in Italy on a holiday. And it was while I was here that I came up with this idea because I was reading the news, and there was something in the news about a TikTok trend about being demure. And it made me think that being demure is the exact opposite of what being arrogant is. Being arrogant, being in your face and uber confident, is exactly the opposite of being low-key and yet confident and elegant in that sense. And most people, when they want to perform, want to come across with that quiet confidence. So how do you achieve that? Well, let me first talk about the difference between confidence and arrogance, because a lot of people think that arrogance is on a scale of confidence, where at one end you have shyness and timidity, and in the middle you have a nice level of confidence, and at the other end you have arrogance. But this isn't true at all. In fact, arrogance is on the same scale as insecurity and timidity. People who are arrogant are generally insecure. They're trying to convince the world that they are good enough, in the hope that if the world believes they are good enough, they might then finally feel good enough themselves. It's another expression of insecurity. It comes from a place of doubt and worry. But it's kind of faking uber confidence to try and convince the world that you are confident and that you are good enough so that you yourself will believe it. Confidence, on the other hand, is a place where you do feel good enough. You feel good enough so you can let go of that insecurity and focus on what you're telling people, the message you want to get across, and focus on what your audience wants and how to enhance your audience's lives. And letting go of that insecurity about being good enough frees up so much headspace so you can actually do a better job. So how do you get there without veering into arrogance? A lot of people will have heard that Beyoncé has an alter ego, that she pretends to be Sasha Fierce, and that Adele has taken on the same ploy. And this works, and it works for a number of reasons. But it isn't the only strategy. Another strategy is to understand the difference between confidence and arrogance and timidity, or rather between confidence and insecurity, and what we tend to do when we feel confident versus what we tend to do when we feel insecure. Now, whether you express insecurity as shyness or being timid, or whether you express it in this in-your-face arrogance by pretending to be uber confident, what you are always doing is you're focusing inwards. You are focusing towards yourself. In arrogance, it's like, here I am, look at me, aren't I amazing? Come on, look at me, tell me how amazing I am. I'm going to tell you how amazing I am. They're always telling you how amazing they are, trying to convince you that they're amazing, because if you believe it, they might believe it. With shyness and timidity, you're worrying that you are good enough. You're still focusing inwards and thinking, well, I got that wrong and I need to do this better, and I'll keep small so nobody notices me because I'm not good enough, and I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that. It's all focusing inwards. As I said, with confidence, you believe you're good enough. So that frees up space that you're not looking at yourself, you're looking outwards. You're connecting with the audience, and you're connecting and delivering your message. So how do you use this knowledge? Because you might feel that it's all very well. but I don't feel that I am good enough. And if your relationship with believing you are good enough is anything like mine, it can be incredibly complex, because there are certain places where I feel perfectly confident, and there are other places where I find it really challenging and I do not believe I'm good enough. My relationship, after doing all of this work with my belief that I'm good enough, has definitely improved. But even with me, there are times where it's not. So what can you do about that? The answer is that although connecting and facing outwards is a symptom of confidence, it's also a cause. So if you can turn your focus outwards, if you can think about the message you want to deliver, and you've probably heard me say this before if you've listened to this podcast before, but think about your message, think about what it is you want to communicate with people. Think about focusing outwards, think about your audience and what they want from it and what would make their day and enhance their lives. You'll find that by focusing outwards, you stop focusing on yourself, which boosts your confidence because you let go of the worry about yourself. Equally, letting go of the worry about yourself and focusing outwards, so thinking, I'm not going to worry today about whether I'm going to be good enough. I'm just going to go out and do my stuff and focus on the audience, will improve what you do and will improve your interaction, which means you build confidence. It's this wonderful positive cycle. If you focus outwards, you're not focusing inwards, which means you naturally will stop thinking about yourself, which means you'll be less worried about things, you'll notice fewer of your faults, and you'll be focusing outwards, which will improve your confidence. When you improve your confidence, it allows you to focus outwards more. And when you focus outwards more, it improves your confidence. So although being able to focus outwards is a symptom, it's also a cause that you can have some control with. So for example, whenever I get nervous, I notice that I start as an introvert to focus inwards. I start thinking about myself and what I can do better. But now my strategy is to deliberately focus outwards, to deliberately look at someone in my audience, someone out there. And when I do, I notice that the quality of my performance improves because I let go of all of that headspace that's being used up with that worry. And I am able then to allow my subconscious to get on and do the job that I know it can do. So let's go back to Beyoncé and Sasha Fierce, because there's a reason that works. Because Beyoncé is not pretending that she has confidence. She's pretending to be someone with confidence, and that's a different thing. When you're trying to pretend that you have confidence, you're doing something that you don't really believe, and you're trying to pretend to be something you're not, to have an emotion that you don't have. If you pretend to be someone who's confident, you're pretending to be someone who isn't worried about what people think. So by pretending to be someone who isn't worried about what people think, you step into that feeling. And that means you focus outwards and not inwards, because Sasha Fierce doesn't need to focus inwards because she's awesome. So do you see the difference between that? The difference between pretending you have confidence and pretending you are someone who has confidence. Because on the one hand, you are still being yourself. When you're pretending to have confidence, you're pretending to be you with confidence. When you're pretending to be someone else, it's really like going to a party in fancy dress. Now, if you're anything like me, I love going to a party in fancy dress because I can be someone else. I'm a natural performer, I have the feeling, no matter how shy and insecure I have felt over the years. So give yourself a chance to stop worrying about what other people think of you and focus outwards and think about what they want, what you want to deliver to them. Arrogance comes out of wanting people to think that you're great and pretending that you think you're great. Confidence comes out of believing that you have a good message to deliver and believing that you have a nice audience to deliver it to. Even if on occasions you might be wrong, but if you believe you have a good message and you want to deliver it to a nice audience, then you will give them so much more, be so much more open to connection, and that will enhance your confidence. I'm Hattie Voelcker from Find Your True Voice, and you've been listening to the Courageous Performer podcast. If you feel you would like some extra help with your confidence when you're performing, please do get in touch at hattie@findyourtruevoice.co.uk. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time.